Joining us now, Van Hipp, former Deputy General Counsel of the Navy. Look, Van, is the 7th Fleet operationally sound? What say you?
I'm very concerned. And Stuart, I think it's bigger than the 7th Fleet. I think we've got a readiness crisis in our military. I've spoken to Navy folks and cybersecurity experts that I trust, and every one of them says while they're not ruling out a cyber attack, they believe that this is a training issue, it's maintenance issues, which goes to the overall readiness capability of our military.
This is not what we want to hear, Van. This is the Pacific. We're going up against China. We're going up against the North Koreans. There's a missile threat, a nuclear threat. We don't want to hear of operational insecurity, but that apparently is what we've got. How serious is it?
It's very serious, and I agree with you. It shows weakness in a region of the world that we can't afford to show weakness right now. That Asia and Pacific region, we've got the North Korean threat, and with China, we've got the South China Sea issue. So, but we've seen this coming. We've seen this coming. The Joint Chiefs of Staff testified to Congress last year. The current Vice Chief of Naval Operations testified with other Vice Chiefs of other services in January to Congress that they're having a tough time getting maintenance done on ships. And here's the challenge for the Navy. When Ronald Reagan was president, we had 600 ships. Today we have 274. And we're asking them to do more and more so they are at sea longer. When they're at sea longer, they're less time in port, less time to get training that they need, and less time to do that necessary maintenance. This is a readiness issue.
Okay, as an expert in the field, would you say that if challenged in whatever way, can the American Navy meet that challenge at this point?
I think we can, but we're going to have to reallocate some resources. There was one admiral, the former Fleet Forces commander, I think said it best earlier this year. There are some in the Pentagon talking about new things and new capabilities. We better take care of what we've got right now and make sure it's up to snuff and up to speed from a readiness standpoint right now.
Does that mean money? I know that more money is allocated to the military, but do we need a lot more on top of that?
And more money is coming, but we haven't started the new fiscal year yet. But this is going to require our Secretary of Defense and our service secretaries to do what it takes now to reallocate resources from operations and maintenance funding. And reallocate resources to address this readiness and very real readiness crisis that exists across the board.
Okay, look at Afghanistan. The president is going to move more troops there. He says we are going to win. Let me ask you this, Van. What does winning look like? How would we win in Afghanistan, and when?
Well, I believe, first of all, I'm glad we got a commander-in-chief who is in the terrorist-killing business instead of the nation-building business. I've always said we could win militarily against radical Islamic terrorism, but we've got to do the things necessary and put mechanisms in place so it's harder to reconstitute. So winning militarily, putting the right mechanisms in place so it's tougher for terrorist organizations to reconstitute themselves, self-governance by the Afghanistan people without terrorist influence, and the U.S. coming home.
You know, we're in a difficult situation, Van. We've got a near $500 billion deficit this year, this fiscal year, with $20 trillion in debt. We've got a do-nothing Congress and a president under siege. This is not a good situation, is it?
It's not. But I think this president, and what he's got to do is he's having to allocate resources. I mean, we can't be everywhere. We have to address those national security threats and prioritize them accordingly, like North Korea and so forth. I think this president is focused on the right national security threats, and no question, he inherited a mess. And the most complex national security situation a commander-in-chief has ever faced. But I give him high marks on what he's doing from a national security standpoint.
All right, you laid it out for us, Van Hipp, and we appreciate that. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.